Hey all you cornhole enthusiasts, I'm Jesse from cornholeoboards.com, and in this video I wanted to investigate a topic I see come up often on board build guides, and that is the choice of 3/4 inch plywood versus 1/2 inch plywood for your deck tops to reduce bounce. When I first seen these comments come up, I wasn't sure if they meant the bags would bounce or if the board would bounce around. My mechanical engineering background tells me that they must mean the board instead of the bags. But instead of going into those mechanical details, let's just dive into testing. So let's take a look at what we'll be testing with. Here I have 4 different board builds in descending order of assumed strength from left to right. The Wisconsin board on the left is the heaviest, made out of 3/4 inch pine plywood, and 2x4s for the frame, weighing about 30 pounds. The next board to the right is also 3/4 inch plywood, but with 1x4 frames, weighing about 8 pounds less. To the right of that, we have the Cornhole board with 1/2 inch pine ply and 1x4 frames and about 10 pounds less. The 2 flag boards are the same with 1/2 inch birch tops and 1x3 frames, but with one board containing the additional 1x3 center brace. These weigh in about half the weight of the Wisconsin board. So let's get to testing. Here you can see the setup I used for testing. I wanted to create some sort of controlled test that would produce similar forces, so I set up this apparatus with a ladder and an 8-foot 2x4 going horizontal, and then you would just rotate the board and the bags would fall onto the cornhole boards. So this allowed me to test 4 of the 5 boards at one time, so I chose to leave out the flag board containing the center brace so we can compare the assumed weakest board. Additionally, this is about 12 feet vertical off the ground. So let's get to it.
Let's see that in an instant replay.
So the normal speed videos was hard to tell much movement, but in the slow-mo video you can see the flag board move the most, and it appears none of the other boards moved around much. But let's take a look at another view from a different camera of the same test. So here again, it was hard to distinguish much movement at normal speed, but once we went to slow motion, we can clearly see that all boards are moving somewhat. So let's try another test that is more realistic and just throw bags at the boards from the regulation 27-foot distance. So here I'm only going to compare the assumed strongest Wisconsin board and the assumed weakest flag board, as I'm interested in building all of my boards out of the 1/2 inch birch plywood tops and 1x3s for the frame. And this is to reduce weight for the customer. So let's see how the heavy board reacts first. Alright, now that we've seen the Wisconsin board, let's go test that flag board. But before we do, I want to give full disclosure about a design change I made to it after the first test with the ladder. So I added these extra 1x3 pieces behind the legs here, and then I changed the legs to 2x3s. I did this because I wanted to add a little strength at this joint to the final design I go with, and this is what I'm testing against with now. Okay, so there you have it. So without the proper measurement tools, I can't be certain about which board bounces more and by how much. So I have to rely on my own perception here. So my conclusion after viewing the real-time speed replays of the regulation distance bag tosses is the same as it was from my own personal live viewing while throwing. And that is, there was no noticeable difference in play to using the 1/2 inch ply with 1x3 frame versus the 3/4 inch tops with 2x4 frame. So what was your conclusion? Please comment below and let me know. Thank you.